Welcome back to the For the Margin podcast, where we give biblical perspective through marginalized stories. I'm Taj.
And I'm Bria. And we're back.
We are back.
We're back with relationships.
That is the topic for today.
That is the topic. That's what we're discussing. So, Ms. Taj, what do relationships mean to you?
That is a good question. Relationships are kind of like my foundation, or like how I stay motivated, how I stay connected, even in my faith.
Yeah.
But also like how I don't know, I feel like I can be a better person when I have better relationships. They uplift me. The right ones can uplift you, motivate you, like I said. And yeah. What about you?
Heavy on the right ones.
Yes,
like heavy on the right ones, because I feel like the wrong ones do the opposite, you know?
Yeah.
Like there are relationships that can leave you feeling like drained and like, okay, maybe this isn't like, I feel like all my relationships should be pulling me closer to God in some way, shape, or form.
Yes.
And I feel like that sounds like, sometimes people be like, oh, that sounds so like religious. But like, no, like in a true sense, like being closer to God is being closer to like who I was intended to be.
Yes.
So that's what I feel like all of my relationships should do, should be drawing me like near towards that.
Exactly.
And I just find that works best for me.
They should be making you a better person, basically.
Exactly. I think that that's what they're there for. Like it's an integral part of your growth, of your development, because kind of like we were talking about in our relationship in the last episode, there's a certain level of accountability and things that I don't think I can do a lot.
Other people can push you to do, or they can give you a perspective you might not hold. I mean, for me, it's always about perspective too. Like every person in your life serves a different kind of purpose. That's why it's important to build community and kind of have your tribe. I think that's really important about relationships, is to have people that support you in different ways. Like, my relationship with you is different than my relationship with like my roommate or, my boyfriend or my family. It's all different. But not just for the obvious reasons, but because like what they do for you in your life and like how they push you forward, or be a better person. Like you have obviously, my relationship with you has helped a lot with pursuing, studying the word better and getting closer to it and understanding it better, which I feel like I haven't really been pushed to do before until I met you, which is great. So.
Yeah, it's crazy because I feel like my relationship with you has like strengthened that, obviously, but also like forced me. I keep using that word forced, and I don't mean it negatively. Like I feel like it gets a negative connotation. Yeah. But I mean it in the best way possible.
No,
like,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's required me to be like. I heard this. It's in a TV show, that show 20s. It's on BET, Lena Waithe.
Oh, yeah.
And it's actually really good. And she said, one of the characters says, you stopped talking about your purpose and started actually walking in it. And I feel like that's what our relationship has forced me to do.
Definitely.
Like, I've been like it was all talk when I came to you. Like, it was a thing. And even just before that, like, I feel like even in different areas of my career, in the process of our conversations where sometimes I feel like that imposter syndrome creeps in, and you're very quick to be like, no, like you worked so hard for this.
You do this, and this. Exactly. Yeah. Like you said, you kind of need that other person's perspective, especially like when you're going, it's not even just for like if you're going through hard times, but just to remind you who you are.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think like right now, so in college, I think we had similar experiences in college.
Yeah.
That's one thing that we realized in the process of doing this is though we met like 6-7 months ago now.
Yeah.
Our lives were so like parallel. Like our experiences with our parents, like our experiences with like middle school, our experiences in college like
and just
same
like
time.
Being like young women, trying to be Christian based in our lives and dealing with relationships. We have many similar stories in relationships.
A lot of the same relationship struggles. Yeah.
Same kind of mistakes, maybe, it's not too different than what most people or most young women go through, but I definitely feel like you're right. We have a lot of parallel experiences, which has helped a lot in building our friendship and getting as close as we have gotten in such a short amount of time. Yeah. And then developing, obviously, for the margin.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's something that's so interesting to me about all my relationships right now. Like I said, in college we both came from like a solid like friend group. Like how in college you have like, these are my 5 girlfriends. Yes. We're gonna do everything together. We're gonna all go to each other's weddings. We're all gonna do this, and then like that doesn't necessarily happen,
Yeah,
you
it
know?
doesn't.
And I've had friends come into my life where I've seen them get engaged. Shout out to Mariah and Rick, love y'all. Where I've seen them get engaged and seen processes happen with people I never planned to. You know, I
Yeah.
didn't plan on that. And the people that I did plan on that happening with, it didn't happen per se, you know?
Exactly.
And like certain things kind of ebbed and flowed.
Mm-hmm.
But now the relationships in my life where they have never been like, they haven't been to this point, I would
Mm-hmm.
say. Like at
Mm-hmm.
25, I remember my 25th birthday dinner, and I felt like I literally was talking to God during my dinner, like, I feel like a guest here. And like I don't
Mm.
have like soul connections. Like I have a deep
Oh.
connection. I had finally like developed my deep connection with God, I felt
Yeah.
like at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I want the relationships around me to like speak to that. Like I don't want to be
Yeah.
speaking about random things that really don't matter to
Yeah.
me, like surface level things.
Mm-hmm.
And there were like 4 or 5 people there that I really was like, okay, this is like a part of my tribe.
Mm-hmm.
But from 25 to 27, God like pruned a lot of people, but then brought a lot of people.
Exactly.
And it wasn't in like a group, like they
Mm-hmm.
weren't all from the same, like how college you had the same, like these are my girls.
Yeah.
But they were all like different pockets of my, so actor friends, writing friends, this
Yes.
friends, just, you know, all from all different sections
Mm-hmm.
of my life that all spoke to me on like a soul level, and it built those relationships that I was seeking that all pulled me to like the best out of me in those portions of my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I feel you on that. I definitely had that experience or a similar experience after college.
Yeah.
I was in college and I joined a sorority. That is like, you go into that with not only just the hopes of, you know, meeting new people
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, getting the full college experience, but also to really, you know, develop lifelong friends. I mean, you're fresh out of high school. You don't really know after college. It's like pretty much, okay, this is it. This is when you really start your life. So like when I joined my sorority, I definitely had the mindset like, okay, these are going to be my lifelong friends.
Yeah.
I found my bridesmaids, all of that. And while I did secure a few close ones that I'm still, you know, that are still part of my life today, you know, the organization that I was in was like 120 plus members, and I probably keep in touch with about 10 of them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of a shock, but it's for the best. I feel like like you said, as my social circle was being pruned, God was bringing the right people into my life, or having me focus on the right people in my life. And then, like, for example, I met you, and like I said, that's exactly the kind of connection I felt like I needed to bring around me. And I just got to a point where I realized my relationships needed to make me feel good. Like I
Yeah.
needed to feel good about, you know, who I am based on, you know, who I'm in relationship with. Basically, like, my relationship should speak to who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Kanye had said something like, don't hang around people that forget who you are. Because
Yeah.
that's a big deal. You really
Yeah.
do need people in your circle that, like, know who you are and want to support you and see the best version of you.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
We film in downtown LA, everyone, so just excuse sirens if you ever hear them.
Yes.
But we're gonna flow right back into it. So or sounds like that.
Yes.
It's LA. We make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I 100% echo your point about Kanye or what he said, because I feel like Kanye gets deemed cocky a lot, and
He does.
I think that I wouldn't necessarily call. I mean, it's a thin line, but I feel like you have to really know who you are to live out the purpose that God has for you. You know, you really have to know, like, and I think we can be humble and all those things, but you really have to know, like, God sent you down to earth for a reason, and you can't take that lightly.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes in being humble, we can like shortchange ourselves. You know, like we have
Yes.
to be able to like talk that talk for ourselves. And to that point, having people around you who can see who you are,
Yeah.
you know, so like when I'm feeling like, Taj, I don't know if I'm qualified to like, you know, audition for this role.
And
Like,
you
am
need
I
me to
ready?
remind
Da-da-da-da.
you are ready.
Yeah.
You got this. You are Bria.
Exactly.
Like, no. Yeah.
Exactly, and vice versa. You know,
Yeah,
so
same.
it's necessary to have people who see you properly.
And I think also a big part of developing the right relationships or choosing the right relationships is really figuring out who you are and standing firm in that, like your purpose, your identity, you know, your morals, all of that, because then you'll know how to base your relationships, like who you connect with. Because if people aren't on the same page as you, no ill against them, but it's just, you know, they might not be the right friendships or relationships for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we're going to touch on that later too, because like we talk about a lot how opposing views or like different perspectives are needed in relationships.
Yeah, they're necessary.
Like, so you can see the full picture.
Exactly. Well, I'm not saying that, you should be friends with your twin flame.
Right.
Or anyone that feels like a twin flame. You should have a diverse group of relationships in your life.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, for sure. But there was a point you made. I always forget my train of thought, and I totally lost it. It was something like, it's gone. It'll come back.
It'll come back.
It'll come back. But it's crucial, I think, to have those people who don't necessarily see the same way, so you can really, like I said, see the full picture.
Yeah.
And then also just have like that outside perspective, because that's what the point was. Moral code.
Yes.
I think people can have different perspectives, but my moral code aligns with all my friends.
Yes.
Like, there's a certain like core value
that they have.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
that's
at
true.
your core, you're a solid individual.
Exactly. And you need to have the same core values with the people that you're spending intimate time with. It's
Yeah.
not even, like I said, just like romantic relationships. It should also be like your friendships and even family. Because, just because your blood does not mean you're always going to be aligned. I think it's obviously family should come first, and you should do your best to prioritize those relationships so you can develop that common, core values.
Yeah.
But, you definitely, it's still important for no matter the relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, today we do have, once again, a scripture for you.
Yes.
Today's are a little bit longer. They're giving thickness. They're giving fullness. So the first one is Jeremiah 29:3. I know we referenced Jeremiah 29:11 in the last podcast.
Yes.
And I think a lot of us usually jump to Jeremiah 29:11, because like that's encouraging and like that's what we all want to hear.
Yeah, that's the feel good one.
That's the feel good one. But we have to center that they were, in a really rough situation. They were in a really tough spot. And what's emphasized, as we were looking at it this week, was relationships. Like, in that tough spot, it was like, set up shop here, have children, marry, like, be connected to one another and be connected to God. And that, I don't think that's by like accident, that was one of the first things that was listed in it. But Jeremiah 29:3 talks about like trust in your purpose, and that's something that we definitely have had to exercise. So I'll read it. The first one is, he entrusted the letter to, and I'm not a biblical scholar, so I'm probably going to butcher these names. There it is. He entrusted the letter to Elisah, son of Shaphan, and to Gemariah, son of Hilkiah, whom Zedekiah, king of Judah, sent to King Nebuchadnezzar in Babylon. Jeremiah 29:3. And what really hit for me for that was trust. Like, he entrusted, it takes a certain point where you have to realize, I can't do this all by myself. And I got to create that, like, I have to trust someone.
You have to trust someone, or you have to pass the torch, or whatever you have to do. You really do have to, like you said, be about trust.
Yeah, and pass the baton. Exactly. And I think that sometimes, I'm not going to lie, I could be a little perfectionist.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm Miss Independent. If anybody asks, like, because I'll be quick to try to just do it all on my own. I don't like relying on other people. But I think that's more of an ego thing, which I'm trying to work on.
Yeah.
But realistically, you need help. You need fellowship. You need community. You need to be able to rely on other people. Obviously, it's about finding the right ones, like we emphasize. But yeah, no matter what, you need people.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you have people, it like takes you to different places. Like, I may be able to get to one place, but you may be getting in a room that I'm not in. And we, like, if we're doing the same, like, promoting the same thing or doing whatever God has told us to do, and we both have access to different spaces,
even better.
The more the merrier.
Yeah,
like, great,
exactly.
So I think that's just crucial. Like, realizing that you're not going to have access to every single space.
Exactly.
And the people around you will open doors for you in different ways. And not just for you per se, but for what God has instructed you to do. People around you will get you into rooms that you may not have ever been in.
Yeah.
And I feel like getting into rooms sounds so like LA and cliche, but I just mean it in like I'm in the like short film. I'm like in the film space, writing film space. You're in like a different writing space, like so it's like there'll be different. We'll come in contact with different people.
Yeah.
And if the same mission and the same vision is being shared with those different people, it just has a wider reach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's very true. I 100% agree.
100%. Here we go again.
Here we go with 100%.
It's 100%. It's the For the Margin podcast tag.
Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, and it's, speaking of relationships just in general, I think a lot of times, we do focus a lot on who we connect with here on earth and like, in our present physical lives. But, as far as bigger purpose goes, you know, the main relationship that you really need to focus on is your relationship with God.
Yeah.
So that is our second verse. I'll say the verse and then we can kind of dive into it. It's Jeremiah 29:12-14, and it reads, "Then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. I will be found by you, declares the Lord, and will bring you back from captivity." So to me, what I took from that verse is a relationship with God is necessary.
Yeah.
If you want to be blessed, if you want to be successful, if you want to be creative, if you want to be whatever you want to be in this life, you need God in it. And in order to attain the promises that God has for you, you know, you have to build relationship with him, because one, you're not going to know what it is exactly that is set for you. You may have a general idea, or you may have your own personal hopes and aspirations, but you may not know what that looks like or how it's going to play out until you connect with God and get in tune with God. I mean, I'm sure you can attest to your relationship with God being a big driver. I mean, you be talking to God in the shower, you know, you be driving, you be telling me like, Taj, I saw this billboard and it said this, and I think God is telling me to do this.
It's literally insane, because I feel like I used to be like, when people would be like that, I'd be like, how are you talking to God so much? Like, exactly. What are you doing? Like,
and
how does
you
it look
had
like
to kind
that?
of bring me back to that too, because I was so used to kind of hearing that verbiage or that dialogue in the church, and it's been a while ever since, you know, the pandemic that I've actually been in a physical church setting, and I grew up in it, and people would talk like that, like, oh, God told me to do this, or God said this, God this, God that, and I was like, I don't understand, you know? And then when I started, I connected with you and I started reconnecting to that, like, well, what does that mean? You know?
Yeah, because I feel like when you just hear someone else saying it, it can feel like just religious talk.
Yeah,
you know, it
exactly.
can just feel like, oh, just jargon.
Yeah.
But then when you're like hearing like the actual experience that there's like them explaining it and what it felt like and what it was and what they're doing as a result of it, when you see all the pieces, you're like, oh, you're not just saying that as like, God talked to me.
Trying to
like,
sound
no.
holier than thou.
Yeah,
no, it's really you just trying to explain like the feeling or the thought that popped in your head or the drive that you have.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think it's so important to like normalize that type of verbiage. I think especially in like creative spaces and different areas, because I feel like it could be like it gets like taboo. People are like, okay, like here's the Jesus girl, okay, and I was like, no, okay, yeah, I am, like,
you're like,
gang,
yes, I am that Jesus
but
girl,
I mean that's so, but like it's
you
actually
really have
truth
something to
behind
say.
it.
Yeah, there's truth behind it.
And
exactly.
I actually am like just expressing, you know, what that process was like, and I think in the transparency of that and like how people see like, oh, it's not like a weird, you're not talking like some weird hyper,
you're not speaking in tongues.
Yeah, but I think even speaking in tongues is like completely fine.
No, yeah, of course. But I'm saying like you're not just speaking in tongues just to be speaking in tongues.
Exactly.
To just sound like you know what you're talking about. Like no, like there are just different ways to communicate your faith and your relationship and what you're feeling inside. I mean, like I said in the last podcast, I do believe God lives within all of us. So the way it manifests, that just depends on your experience and the person, and
yeah, and it's just like, I feel like it doesn't make sense until you experience it.
I feel like, you know, if even hearing our explanation, if people don't understand it, I totally understand, because like I said, I've been on the other end of that. So, you know, my only prayer is just that people do get to experience their own manifestation of connecting with God.
Absolutely.
However it looks, however it feels, or whatever speaks to them, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%.
What?
100%. Anyways, but yeah, no, it's so true, because I feel like in like last 2 years, I've been like, I feel like the things that people would say in church, I finally understand. Like, I finally feel them too.
It's like exactly, and you know? I finally found them, because for me it was like a struggle. I was raised Christian. Like, I started going to church when I was like, I think like 4 or 5 years old, and you know, I went to church went to church every Sunday, you know, and Bible studies. I even did like volunteer Bible studies over summers, because we have like summer camps at my church, and I did everything, you know, like that you're supposed to do. And, you know, at the time, especially as an adolescent, I feel like I didn't really understand what I was doing. I was just kind of like blindly following
going through motions,
my faith, instead of actually experiencing my faith. And that was like, I think what led to a disconnect when I got to college, just because I went into college and it was my first time that I got to kind of experience the world and just everything on my own. And because I didn't have that manifestation yet of my connection with God. I didn't know what it looked like or felt like fully yet. I think that's why it's easy to sometimes disconnect from God.
Yeah.
Which is something, people don't like to talk about a lot in Christian spaces, but it does happen. You can feel disconnected from God, and it takes time sometimes to get back to that.
Yeah.
Where I'm at now, I feel a lot more, I feel like my relationship with God is a lot more authentic, way more. Like, I feel like I can have way more candid conversations with God. I get more just better feelings of peace and kind of like purpose. Direction is a big thing that I've been feeling lately. I just like, lately when I feel like something is intended to play out the way God is intending it to play out, I get an overwhelming sense of peace, especially in situations that are really overwhelming. Like, and before I feel like I would think that's just an inner voice, or that's just me trying to calm myself down. But no, I really do believe that that's God trying to settle my heart, because he's like, I got this. So,
yeah. And I can attest to that. In the past, like, few months, you've totally been like, yeah, I'm at a level of peace. I know everything's going crazy.
Yeah, obviously what's been going on with me lately. And remember last time I talked to you and you were like, how are you not freaking out right now? How are you so calm? Where's your peace? And I'm like, it's honestly, at the time I didn't think of it, but it was God, for sure.
That's
because
beautiful.
He already has everything laid out for me next. So I don't need to worry. I don't need to worry. I don't need to stress.
Yeah, worrying is a waste of time.
Yeah, I already struggle with anxiety, so I don't need to find more reasons to be anxious.
Yeah, exactly. It's so crazy, because I know we said we have, like, parallel experiences.
Yeah.
And then there are all those pockets where obviously we have our own experiences.
Yeah.
Like, they're different.
Yeah.
Our childhood is one. Because, like, I wasn't raised in church. I wasn't raised, I mean, my parents introduced me to God. I had a relationship with God. I had a God mom, like, everything. My goddad actually was a pastor, I think. But he passed when I was younger. So, like, I kind of like was around church, if that makes sense. My mom was Christian. My dad is Muslim. My mom is Christian. My dad is Muslim.
I know, and that was so crazy to me when I found that out about you. Like, not to make it sound like it's taboo, but I obviously growing up in a Christian-based household, things like that you don't really
hear. Yeah. And then I went to Catholic school, so I had like a whole.
You just had like the whole spectrum.
Yeah, and I feel like it was a world religions class that I had in Catholic school, where I was like, okay, all these things are kind of saying like the same thing and going to God, but I understand it through Jesus Christ, because like for me it doesn't make sense without Jesus Christ. Like
exactly,
it just 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2 for me without it. And I'm not here to force people to like understand it the way I clearly understand it.
Yeah.
But I am here to like be like, this is
spread knowledge about it, just or awareness about it, just so that they can. I mean, if they've tried to understand God in different ways, or what it means to be spiritual in different ways, at least give them the option of knowing Jesus Christ.
Exactly. And for me, it was like when I was growing up, we would go to church maybe like twice a month. It was giving twice a month. I'm being generous because my mom was going to be mad if I say anything less than that. It wasn't really twice a month. Easter, Christmas, Mother's Day. Anyways, but I would really reach out, like as a child, like 12, I would be reaching out to my cousins, like, hey, are y'all going to church today? Like, take me to church with you. Like, I'm trying to go to church. Because I would love the singing. Like, I love the environment of it. And when I became an adult in college, it was like flip. That was when I now had full dominion over my life.
Yeah.
And I was like seeking out a church, like, where's going to be my church home?
Where's your church?
And it just like, I found it. Like, I'm so grateful for one. It was beautiful. And I like felt like I got into my rhythm. It like snatched me up and was like, here's how you consistently pursue God and what that looks like for you. It speaks your language.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that verse just really talks about like actually calling out to God, speaking to God, like, and in being in communication and relationship with Him brings you through the other side of the whatever turmoil you're in. Like for instance, in here they're going through, captivity, and it's crazy, but we all have experienced that in some way, shape, or form. Like, there's different habits I have that I feel captive to. There are different struggles or like life circumstances that I feel like I'm captive to, I'm stuck to. But like, okay, if this is saying that in captivity, I follow and stay in relationship with God, call on Him, pray on Him, seek Him, and I will find Him, then that's what's going to bring me through the areas that I feel captive in my life currently.
Exactly.
And I think that that's just something that like screamed at me in this verse, like, you need God to pull you through.
Yes.
So I think that's good. I think we have like one question.
Yeah.
To wrap us up here.
Yeah.
And let's see. We already touched on opposing views, so I guess we don't have to do that one. This is a good one because we're talking about God.
Yeah.
How do you maintain your relationship with God?
That is a good one. honestly, I mean, not to use For the Margin as a crutch, but that has helped a lot. Because, like I said, it's dedicating time to my day to focus on God and His Word. But really, I think the main way I maintain a relationship with God is through prayer. Prayer is like the one thing that I can like center my thoughts. I can like get a sense of peace from just saying a quick prayer or a long prayer. Prayer, I mean, I guess to, other people it's meditation, but basically that's my meditation, like prayer. And that's how I feel connected to God. I feel protected or I'll feel safe or guided. Whatever I need in the moment, prayer helps with that.
Yeah.
What about you?
Ooh, let's see. I think I've been really big on my morning routine. Like,
yes, you are big on your morning routine.
Yeah.
And that's good.
And yeah, I spent a lot of time, I feel like, perfecting it because I used to not be able to, like, wake up, read the Bible, journal, have a cup of tea, work out. Like, that really was a challenge for me. I would just get up and go. And I've realized I started to see the fruits of what that time of just me being alone by myself. And I've started to right now I'm in the season where I'm waking up at 6 a.m. like and taking that first hour just me and God in silence.
Because that couldn't be me
You're
right
like,
now.
no. But at one point the other day I told you I woke up at like 4, and I was just like my body just naturally woke up at 4, and I was like, okay, I'm going back to sleep. God, I'm going back to bed. Like, we are not talking right now. And then it stayed on me, and I was like, I tried to go back to sleep, and I was tossing and turning. I was like, okay, clearly I'm supposed to have a conversation.
Yeah.
And that was when I was like, oh my God, it's Jeremiah 29. These scriptures for this.
These are the scriptures
for this.
Yes.
If I would have ignored that pull to have that time, we maybe would have never been. We would have picked something else. But yeah, like having that routine where I talk to God and commune with God at the top of my day, and then talking to Him through doing something physical, like while I work out.
Yeah.
It keeps me like so sane.
Yes.
Like, so I feel like I pray.
That's good. I mean, it sounds like it's because it's intentional. Like, you do it with intention, and that's how you stay connected.
Just like how it's like, okay, if I want to be in shape, I need to work out.
Yeah, exactly.
1 + 1 = 2, and it's really simple. And I try to make it way more complicated than it needs to be.
I think we all do. I mean, trust me, I need to get back into the gym myself and be more dedicated. Do the 1 + 1 myself, but
me too.
Sometimes it looks like it's 1 + 10 or something, or 1 + 1 = fish. Because I can't with waking up and going to the gym early or getting off work and going to the gym. That's a hard one.
It is. It can be, and it's exactly what you said. What it looks like.
Yeah.
Because it's really it's. I feel like sometimes we make things so complicated.
Yes.
And like for instance, like when I remember telling you like registering the LLC, I thought it was gonna be like this so long process and it's gonna take all this time. 15 minutes.
Literally.
1 + 1 = 2. But I thought as 1 billion plus 3,705.
Yeah, divided
equals,
by.
Yeah, carry the 2.
Yeah.
Round it down. No, thank you. So yeah, I think that's just what it is. So our food for thought for you all today is ask yourself if your current relationships are pulling you closer to or further away from God. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Crack that little knuckle there. Snap, crackle, pop. It's giving age.
It's giving
growth.
Age. It's giving I need to get your ice back.
I sleep with an ice pack. We'll talk about that later. From writing so much.
Yes.
But how do you feeling? You want to pray us out? You want me to pray us out? What
I think
it's giving me.
Yeah, I think it's giving you.
It's giving me. Okay. So today our prayer point for sure is that you all find the people that are assigned to your life. So we'll go into it. God, I just want to say thank you. Okay, y'all, I be just having fun when I pray, so, it's not always going to look like how your traditional prayer look. But God, thank you for this day. Thank you for this time. You had everyone in mind who's on the other side of this podcast since before they were born, and I just thank you for bringing them here. I thank you for allowing us to be here, all of our cast, all of our crew, and Taj and I to just do what it is that we're doing. And right now, Lord Jesus, I ask that you guide the people that are needed in the lives of our listeners to them, Father God, and draw them closer and nearer to you. In your glorious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.